Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Can exercise help you think better, more clearly, help your memory? We'll learn all about that today as we continue our fitness article. Hello everyone, welcome back to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Brandon. It is May 25th and we're talking about fitness once again today. Back in the studio we have Gabe and Manya. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, yesterday we had a great discussion about exercise and we all went out and ran a marathon yesterday, right?
Yeah, totally, so I'm feeling really sore.
No, we don't have to run a marathon. We can just go on a 30-minute walk, and that's a good start, right?
Oh, I thought you meant like TV marathon.
Oh.
But doing running in place.
That's right. While you're watching
that's
it.
Right.
Then
That's right. My neighbor did not like that.
Oh, no. Well, today we are still talking about fitness, but remember our deck, it says reaping the holistic benefits of exercise. So it's not just about physically, but also mentally. Can exercise help you mentally? That's really the topic of our discussion today as we look into another study. We are on page 37. Now, I want to ask Gabe and Manya, do you ever think about this? Or maybe you've even experienced this. You've exercised and you just feel like you can think more clearly. Do you realize that or notice that ever, Gabe?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I notice it more than others. And then sometimes I just wonder if it's like, well, that's just how I felt today after exercising, but not all the time.
Yeah. How about you, Manya?
I don't know if I think more clearly, but I'm really excited and energetic after exercising.
Yeah, there was this one time when I got up early to exercise. Like once in my life or twice.
Once.
And I thought, this is going to be great. It's going to change my whole work day. But actually, it kind of made me feel tired. I think it gave me energy initially, maybe, and then like later on, you just feel really tired. I just think it depends on what kind of exercise you're doing and how intense it is. But there's been other times when I felt like maybe I ran the night before and I felt like, I feel much better the next day or something like that. So it really just depends, I guess.
Perhaps it depends on the person.
On the person, your body, I don't know, what you ate. And also because, we're not talking necessarily a lot about that, but what you eat plays a big part too. Like sometimes we might exercise, but we don't eat well and we're kind of not getting as much from the exercise in a sense. We're not helping our body as much as we could.
Do you ever do that horrible thing where you exercise and then you reward yourself with junk food? It's like, I did something healthy. Now I can eat junk food.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, so what kind of person are you? Because I feel like there are two kinds of people. Some people, because they exercise, they feel they need to eat healthy or else they wasted their exercise in a sense. And then there are other people who say, oh no, because I exercise, I can eat this whole pizza or whatever. Which category do you fall into?
I would like to be the former, but I think I'm the latter.
Right.
I'm the one like, I can eat cake and eat chips.
Which, I mean, I guess that is still better, right? You exercise, so it's better than not exercising and eating the cake.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I mean, I've been doing, like, weightlifting at the gym, and that makes you hungrier. And so sometimes I'll go out for, like, the nice barbecue, tuan kao, on the side of the road, which is really oily and greasy and terrible for you. So I think I'm the former as well.
Yeah, me too. Maybe occasionally I'll say, okay, I'll eat healthy, but usually it has nothing to do with it. Because I'll take any excuse I can to eat something that I shouldn't, right?
Yeah,
it's
I know.
not so healthy.
I heard that legumes are really good, like nuts and then like lima beans and any kind of beans. Just get a whole bunch of beans with you all the time. And then you won't eat other stuff.
You go for that.
Oh, man.
Let us know how it goes. But that's a good goal. Well, we're going to look at this study and see if exercise really does help our brains. Does it help our memory function? We hope so. We're on page 37, and we're going to have our first reading there in the left-hand column down through line 9.
You don't have to sweat too hard to benefit from this super simple exercise. The physical and psychological benefits of exercising regularly are well documented. But what about the impact on the brain? Can exercise improve cognitive function? Yes, it can, according to a new neurological study published by scientists from the University of California, Irvine, and the University of Tsukuba in Japan.
All right, so you don't have to sweat too hard to benefit from this super simple exercise. I like, Manya, that it says you don't have to sweat too hard because that makes it sound simple enough, right?
Yeah. When people say don't sweat it, they just mean don't worry about it. So
Right.
they're saying this is really simple, so you don't have to worry about it.
And in physical exercise?
And it also means, you won't sweat a lot physically to do this simple exercise.
Exactly.
But I always feel like I got really good exercise after I sweat. Like I look at my shirt and I'm like, good, I sweat a lot. That means I got good exercise. I must
That's
be getting
true.
in shape.
I feel like it's hard maybe it's too much
Well,
information. I don't sweat
I think it has
a
to do
lot
with your
easily.
body. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people sweat really easily and some
I
people
don't.
don't.
That's true. Some people just sweat when they're eating.
Yeah. Or they step outside and it's sunny and they start sweating.
Is it so spicy? Is that what you mean?
Not only, but sometimes because it's spicy or something.
Yeah, right. Well, the physical and psychological benefits of exercising regularly are well documented. We know that. Psychological having to do with the mind. But what about the impact on the brain itself? Can exercise actually improve cognitive function? Cognitive meaning it's connected to thinking or the mental process. And what's the answer, Manya?
Yes, it can.
Woohoo! Mm-hmm. This is according to a new neurological study that was published by scientists from
UC Irvine.
Yeah.
Part of the UC system, though. That's good.
Yes. Okay. And also a university in Japan. All right.
You didn't want to say the name of the university?
Sorry. That's
Tsukuba?
that's a good try. Good. No offense, but I probably would mispronounce that. So I'll stick with this University of Japan. You can see it in writing if you have our magazine. Well, what did they find out? Stay tuned. We'll have our next reading right now. There in the left-hand column down through line 31.
The findings. The scientists invited 36 college students into their lab, where they were instructed to sit quietly on a stationary bike for 10 minutes. The students were also asked to pedal the bike lightly, barely enough to get their heartbeat up. After this incredibly light exercise, the students were then given a computerized test, which flashed images of objects like trees, and asked then to recall whether it was new or a previously shown object. They then asked the students to complete the computerized test while their brains were being scanned by an MRI machine to see how they responded.
All right, so they invited some college students, 36 of them, into their lab. And what did they tell them to do, Manya?
They were instructed to sit quietly on a stationary bike, so a bike that doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
For 10
For how
minutes.
long? For 10 minutes. Okay, I don't think they were just sitting there the whole time. What else were they asked to do?
Yeah, so they had to pedal the bike lightly, and it says it was barely enough to get their heartbeat up. So it was a really light pedaling.
That's my kind of exercise.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I want to do that.
Well, sometimes you want that vigorous thing, but this is a simple exercise. And so after this incredibly light exercise, the students were then given a computerized test. And what did that involve?
Well, you could see the results pretty clearly, I guess, because they flashed objects of trees and asked them to recall whether it was new or previously shown object.
Okay, and then what did they ask them?
They asked the students to complete the test with their brains being scanned by an MRI machine.
Okay, and they did this to see how the students responded. So, you know, many of you maybe have had an MRI test. Hopefully you haven't had to. but it's a system for producing electronic pictures of the organs inside a person's body. And they use radio waves and a strong magnetic field. It's actually MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging.
Yeah. So it's just to kind of, test to see what's going on inside of the body.
All right. So I believe I've had one of these before, and it's always kind of scary to have that, but not in a test, at least. There's nothing wrong with them, but it does help to see how they responded. Well, we're going to learn more about the results as we go to our third reading for today. We're starting in line 32, and we're going down through the rest of the left-hand column and up to the right-hand column, line 5.
The effects of this undemanding exercise were clear, Gretchen Reynolds of the New York Times reports. The students could recall images more accurately after they had pedaled the bike. Surprisingly, their ability to correctly recall images even improved as the images became more alike. They got smarter, even as the test got harder, in other words. The MRI scans yielded another unexpected result. While taking the memory test, portions of each student's hippocampus lit up at the same time as the parts of the brain associated with learning, suggesting a stronger connection between the two parts after completing the exercise. And as these different parts of the brain exhibited closer coordination, students performed better on the memory test.
Well, we hear once again from Gretchen Reynolds of the New York Times, and she's telling us the effects of this undemanding exercise were clear. Now, I don't usually put the word undemanding with exercise.
That's funny.
Me too.
Exercise you usually think of as pretty demanding, but this was really light. We saw that they're just pedaling the bike lightly.
Yeah, you're right. Usually exercise requires something of you, like a lot of energy. It is demanding. But it's undemanding.
Right. It's undemanding, but it still had positive results, right? So the students could recall images more accurately after they had pedaled the bike. That's a key point. So remember, we just had this computer test where they had to recall whether or not they had seen an object before. And so after the exercise, they could actually recall the images more accurately. And there was a surprising factor as well, Manya.
Yes, they noticed that the students got smarter even when the test got harder. So the test, what they started doing was putting more pictures that were similar to the correct answers, the correct pictures.
Yeah.
And the students could still accurately recall the images they had to.
Yeah, they even improved in their ability to do that. And that's pretty amazing. So they got smarter even as the test got harder, in other words.
That's right. So in other words just means another way of saying it. Another way of
usually
saying,
a simpler way, right, of saying something. Well, what about the MR scans, Manya?
It also yielded another unexpected result.
Okay, it supplied or gave us another unexpected result. And what was it, Manya?
It said while taking the memory test, portions of the student's hippocampus lit up at the same time as the part of the brain that associates with learning.
What in the world does that mean?
Well, it means that when your hippopotamus is working correctly, then you can learn better.
Yeah, right. This word hippocampus is kind of funny,
hippocampus.
Right?
Yeah.
It does make you think of a hippopotamus, but I don't think it's related to that unless you're talking about the brain of a hippopotamus.
No.
Do you think hippopotamus have hippocampus in their brain?
Maybe they do.
They have a brain.
Hey,
yeah.
Elephants must have hippocampuses because they have good memories, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Maybe.
All right. Anyway, so they took this test, this memory test, and portions of each student's hippocampus lit up.
But we should say something about the hippocampus first.
Yeah, what is it?
Because it has to do, it's the part of the brain that has to do with memory, or it's very important for your memory.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Did you want to say something else about it?
That's it. Because our lesson just uses the word hippocampus. But, it doesn't say that it has to do with the memory.
All right. So it lit up at the same time as the parts of the brain associated with learning. And this suggested a stronger connection between the two parts after completing the exercise. The point is the exercise is helping their memory function.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It is.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do some big, huge kind of exercise. Really light, short exercise, and they saw improvements.
Do you think we can get some stationary bikes in here and do it while...
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Well, I was wondering if maybe we should tell all of our students who are listening, all the friends out there, if maybe the next time that you learn with us here at Advanced, that you are running in place or you have a stationary bike, and it'll help you remember all the words and everything we do.
That's an excellent idea.
Right?
All right. Sounds great.
Go hippocampus.
And we can talk more about the hippocampus. All right. So, and as these different parts of the brain exhibited closer coordination, students performed better on the memory test. And so, that word exhibited just means showed. And so these different parts are working together. Coordination is there. And students are performing better on the memory test, which is the goal.
I don't know if this is a stretch, but I immediately thought about in school, teachers have told me that when you take notes by hand, you have better memory. You remember things better than if you were to digitally record it.
Right, I believe we had an article on that.
Do you think that's sort of related to kind of exercising your hand? Or
I think it's only applicable for people who are right-handed, that they actually...
No way.
No, I'm just playing. Because Mania's left-handed. I'm just picking on her.
Oh, Mania, you're left-handed. That's special. Left-handers are leaders, right? I don't know.
Totally, yeah.
But you're probably right, though. You're probably right. That has to do with, the
motion.
No, it does. It does. If you take notes by hand, I think it's supposed to help you remember more. Yeah. So get out there and take notes by hand, or do like me and just use a computer, because I can... No, okay, there's benefits to all sorts of different things. So if you take notes on a computer, you can find it more easily, I think, and I can read it more easily.
Not
my
if you
handwriting
stay organized.
Okay, fine. But the computer helps you organize. Okay,
a good
I use this
filing
app.
system also does it too.
Well, sure. But anyway, I use this app called Evernote, and there you can have all these different folders there. And if I want to find my favorite restaurant, maybe I clipped an article about something, or I found something online. You can just put all that information there, stuff that you didn't necessarily write, but that you found somewhere, and you can organize.
I have the solution for you, Brandon.
What is it?
You still take notes, so you remember things, but then you take pictures of your notes and then put it in your Evernote.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Crazy. All right, but we all want to make a difference. And sometimes, of course, we can make a difference, but also exercise can make a difference in our lives. Let's find out about that as we go to our last reading there on page 37.
Making a difference. Whereas previous studies examined the effects of moderate or vigorous exercise, such as jogging or brisk walking, for weeks or months at a time, this new research demonstrates the potentially positive impact on brain function of even the lightest forms of exercise. These findings represent a mechanism by which mild exercise may improve memory, say the researchers.
All right, so previous studies, of course, they've examined the effect of moderate or vigorous exercise, and we've used those words yesterday. Moderate means kind of like in between a low amount and a high amount, and vigorous is more intense. Okay?
That's right. Yeah, so what kind do you like to do, Brandon? Moderate exercise or vigorous?
Definitely moderate. Yes, vigorous. We talked about high-intensity interval training. That is vigorous. You can do it for a short amount of time. That's attractive, and, attractive quality of that. But I would rather just go for a moderate, jog 30 minutes and listen to some podcast.
Exactly. You're killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
That's the nice thing.
That's what I like about
podcasts 20 minutes long or 30 minutes long.
And you might listen to that anyway. Why not exercise?
Yeah.
While you're doing it.
But do you ever pick a shorter podcast?
On purpose?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't follow the podcast. I follow the route I want to go,
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
just fill it up with whatever I want to listen to. Anyway, so you can do these studies. They've looked at moderate and vigorous exercise or included that in studies. And, you can have jogging would be a more moderate type of exercise, and I would say brisk walking would be too, but maybe like this high interval training kind of exercise, of course, would be vigorous or that kind of thing. Well,
So what is brisk walking as opposed to just walking?
well, it's not a slow walk, right? It's a faster walk.
So, Manya, you like to walk. Do you like
Yes.
do brisk walking, or you just kind of
Brisk walking, definitely. Yeah, I
Do you
usually
do the power walk?
No, I don't do the motions like this. No, I feel a little bit silly, even though I hear it's supposed to be helpful because something to do with your blood flow. But yeah, I try to do brisk walking, and then if I need to slow down for a few minutes, I might do that. But then usually maintain that same pace.
All right. Good. Walking. You don't have to do the vigorous stuff. We've done articles before. Just a nice walk will do. That'll help benefit your health a lot. So these studies, they've looked at moderate and vigorous exercise for weeks or months at a time. But this new research demonstrates the potentially positive impact on brain function of even the lightest forms of exercise. That's the key point here. They're on the bike for like 10 minutes doing this light pedaling, and it affected their brain function in a positive way. And so just think if you do maybe something even a little more than that, go for a 30-minute walk or something, that might help your brain function. And so we end with a quote here. What does it say?
Yeah,
Dave?
these findings represent a mechanism by which mild exercise may improve memory, say the researchers.
So this encourages us all to do some form of exercise. It doesn't have to be a big, huge thing, but start off small. Now, we've been talking about fitness, of course, for the past 2 days and the types of exercise that maybe we prefer to do.
Yeah.
I don't even want to necessarily use the word like. That's maybe a strong word because maybe you don't actually like to do the exercise, but you prefer it over something else. But what are some forms of exercise that you've tried, Gabe, Manya, and you think, oh, I don't like that at all. I'm not really good at that. Gabe?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I shared before, running, I used to be part of a track team and a cross-country team at different points in my life, just to give it a try. And it's good running with other people, and it's good pushing yourself in that way. And cross-country is better than track in the sense that you can get out in nature and actually get different scenery.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, I just find that, wow, I'm just running. I'm just like on a road, I have to keep going, and I can't stop and slow down. And I prefer to do some other kind of exercise.
Sure, I understand it could seem boring to a lot of people. I think it's the easiest form of exercise that you can do. Just put your shoes on.
Yeah.
We'll go outside and go for a run.
Least expensive, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? And
that's
I love
true.
the fact that, like, as we said before, you can kill two birds with one stone. Like, it's not so intense that you can't do anything. Like, I can listen to something and, like, a podcast and, like, feed my brain as well at the same time. How about you, Manya? Any thoughts about this?
For me, a sport I don't like, we talked about this the other day actually, this tumbling. In high school, I had to do a tumbling class. And basically,
Is that even a sport?
it's like gymnastics.
Yeah.
And it's like doing cartwheels and headstands and things like that. And I'm just not good at it. There was a kid in my...
Can you try it out here?
No, but let me tell you, there was
Can
a
we hear what it
kid
sounds like?
in my class. He never smiled. He was expressionless. And then when we did tumbling and I did my first cartwheel, he laughed. And my classmates said, "You made him laugh." Oh my goodness.
That's
You're a
good.
comedian.
Yes,
But
you're a
I mean,
comedian.
it was
That's when
so
you discovered
hard.
your comedic
Well,
value.
yes. Now, Manya does like to tell jokes, everyone, if
Yeah,
you don't
it's
know
true.
that. So, hey.
I don't have any jokes right now, but I do want to say I do not like tumbling.
I should
It's
apologize to our
hard.
listeners because I said that I asked, is tumbling even a sport? And there's probably some tumblers out there, and it's a serious sport, probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but you don't like it.
It's not easy for me.
Yeah.
You have to be really flexible. And I think you have to just trust yourself when you do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
I mean, I'm not
That's
saying
true.
I don't trust myself, but
Well, we have a friend, Brandon, who does, CrossFit?
Yeah.
Does a lot of CrossFit areas in Taipei, like
A few.
venues, and then
Yeah.
also mixed martial arts.
Yeah, and CrossFit is intense. Like I went to watch him once do like I don't know, it's some sort of test he had to perform or something, and it was like, man, that's intense. I don't want that to be that intense. Just going to the gym is good enough for me, but everybody's different, and you have a goal. I think is important. And of course, with exercise, what is your goal? What do you want to do? Some people they're trying to lose weight. Other people they're just trying to stay fit.
Some people are trying to gain, like muscle mass.
Oh,
anyway.
yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Weightlift.
Yeah, there are a few people out there that are trying to gain weight. That's, definitely in the minority. But that is true. Some people have trouble with that. But you want to gain muscle. And so, what are your fitness goals, right? And coupled with that is how are you eating, right? And how is what you're eating fueling your body, right? And how does that help your overall health is important. Now, and a lot of times when we're talking about health, we run into this thing, some people, they're just trying to lose weight and they're not really focused on health. I don't think that's a good thing overall, right? We want to focus on health because even if you don't need to lose weight, you still need to be healthy and eat healthy food. So you don't want to do a diet that, take a pill and then eat whatever you want or something like that. I don't think that's a good plan a good long-term plan anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Losing weight might be a good short-term plan.
Right.
But then long-term, what are you doing to make sure you're healthy? And I like the point from yesterday's part of the lesson that said, the study used the phrase being fit instead of exercise. Because exercise kind of seems like a chore. The word exercise makes you think like, oh, I have to do this. Mm-hmm. But the idea of being fit is more like a goal that, of course, involves exercise, but you don't think of it as a chore as much. You think, okay, good, I'm going to do whatever I can to reach my goal of looking a certain way. Whatever.
Right, and you want to think about what can you do consistently, not just, for a few months, but what form of exercise can I actually do and keep doing that for, an extended period of time, right? Whether it's running or maybe it's playing a sport. That's a good way to get some exercise.
Exactly.
Right?
You don't even think about the fact that you're exercising when you're playing ultimate frisbee with other people.
Tennis.
You're just having fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are almost out of time today. We thank you for joining us for this month's fitness article. Be sure to check out our Topic Talks videos. You can scan the QR code there at the top of page 36 or go onto our website, studioclassroom.com, to view them there. Just click on Advanced and the Topic Talks there. Also, write into us at advanced@studioclassroom.com to let us know your feedback about this topic or any topic this month. And you never know, maybe your feedback will appear on our feedback page in the magazine. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, this is Brandon.
I'm Manya.
Abe.
Saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.